Hello guys, hello lady, hello gentlemen, hello man. My name is Eke Manuel. I'm a game developer, also a graphic designer. So let's make a game in 10 minutes. I'm really sorry, the new mic I bought had an issue, so I'm using the old one. So this tutorial might be a little bit bumpy, like bumpy. Is it bumpy? Bumpy. Maybe a little bit bumpy. So please, but I'm going to try my best to be loud and audible so you can hear me. Thank you very much for understanding. I love you. Wow. So just take a look at this empty scene. Just take a look at how Unity is empty. If you're a developer, you are awesome. You're really awesome. No matter how good you are, no matter how bad you are, as long as you're a developer, you are awesome. You're really awesome. So I started off by putting in my ground and setting it up to 0, 0, and 0 in each axis. As you can see, just a ground I made and kept as a prefab. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to pull my player, setting down to 0, 0, and 0. Let me raise him up a little bit so it's going to be visible. Don't want to leave him down there. So now, as you can see, the camera is not okay. We can't have a game like this. So I'm going to set this camera. Just give me a few minutes and drag it up, down and turn it a little bit. So I take a shot. Go forward a little bit. Go backward a little bit. So raise up. Then let me rotate it a little bit like this. Okay. Just a little bit. So maybe we should just work with this for now. But as we proceed, we're gonna surely change this. This is not how the camera is gonna be. So now the next thing we're gonna do is to give it a material. Do I give it to the body or to the player, to the ground? No, let me give it to the player. Okay, let me give it to the ground. I think it's better on the ground. It kind of separates the player from the ground totally, so the player is visible, really visible. So this is all we have now in this project. Let me move this plane forward a little bit because we're going to build a scene in this plane, so I want it to be in front of the player. I think this is okay. Then let me move the cube forward a little bit, forward. Okay, I think this is okay. So the next thing we're going to do right now is to now we're going to add our player script, just like a player movement. I'm not really a good coder. I don't know how to code. I'm not very good at coding, but I will give it my shot and I will explain what I can explain. First of all, we call in the rigid body, which adds the mass and the gravity. Second is the touch, which is going to be the touch, just to detect where the player touch on his mobile phone. The next thing is going to be a float speed, and the other thing is going to be a particle system, and the next thing is going to be our restart delay. First of all, we're going to declare the speed, the amount of speed we want, and the next thing is that we're surely going to put an enemy in this game. So this is what happens when we put an enemy. We instantiate a particle, then a game over, and then we happen to restart. So when we restart, this is exactly what happened in the restart. We get the scene manager and we load the scene and we get the active scene. Now this whole thing here is what happens when the player move. The first thing, as you can see here, you have a rigid body and we allow the player to move at 700. That is just a value I give to the player. That is the speed at which the player is going to move in the z-axis. And this whole stuff here detects the touch. This one here detects the touch on the x-axis plus the speed, and this other one, the touch on the z-axis with the position on the y-axis plus the speed, because we don't want the player jumping up all over the screen. So this pretty much happens if our player goes down on the y-axis at -1, we're going to restart. That is when the player is falling, we're going to restart. So I think this is all for the script. So now we're gonna add the script to our player, and as you can see, our player needs a rigid body. We add a rigid body too, and then our script also needs us to show what's this rigid body. We drag the rigid body down there and we hit play to see what happens. So let's see what happens. Cross our fingers. Lock, give us lock, lock. Boom. No, he's running away. Someone should catch him. He's running away. So if you have this problem, it's a very simple problem. The thing is that the ball is just rotating on different axes. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to rigid body and we're gonna freeze the rotation on this axis. Now let's play it and see what it can do. so it's good now. So it's working well. The next thing we're gonna do is to add an enemy, because it's not a game if you don't have an enemy. I think this enemy of stuff that every game does is kind of boring. Maybe we should think of a new idea, try to explore. Maybe there could be something else that could be in a game. So if you can tell me down there in the comment below if you think there's any other way a game can be made without putting an enemy. So I would like to hear your ideas this section. Well, enemy, let me delete this. I think I should just use a normal cube. This, yes, let me use this cube. I'll drag it down a little bit. Let me set it to the position I want it to be. So let me drag it down a little bit. Okay, I think shift it right left. Okay, let me just position this. So let me create a material for the enemy. All enemies are always red, right? You can tell me that in the comment below if you think there's any. I think red and black. Enemies can be red, enemies can be black. Those are the favorite colors of enemies. I think this is okay for now. This is okay. Okay, I think this is okay. Our player is white, our enemy is red. Okay, that's good. So what's the next thing now we're gonna do? The next thing we're gonna do is just tag it as an enemy. If you don't know how to create tag, this is how to create the tag. You just click plus and then you write the name. Well, I've already created a tag enemy, so right now I'm going to tag it as enemy. I'm going to tag it as enemy. Okay, I think that's okay. I think that's okay, right? Yeah, okay. So now the next thing we're gonna do is to test this if it works. So now let's test with our Android device. If you want to test with your Android device, go to project setting and then change it to Android device, and that's all. Make sure you have Unity 5 remote on your phone and make sure you enable debugging. So let's test debugging, sorry. So let's test this now on my Android phone. As you can see, it's working perfectly well. As you can see, such an interesting game in 10 minutes. Wow. So all I did was to tag this environment, the tree, the wood and the rest. I just tagged it as enemy, and I made sure that they have mesh collider on them, so once the player hits them, boom, he explodes. So as you can see, when our player gets to the ending of this stage, he's going to just fall off and he's going to fall down on the scene. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a tie spawner that is going to keep spawning this thing whenever the player is coming very close to the tie. Well, let's take a look at the script. So this is the script. This is where we just declare the variable, and we are just like player, transform and the rest. This is where we declare the variables. This is where we declare the spawn, when it should spawn, the tile length and some other stuff. Why this is where we just get the active scene, and we get the first scene of that is placed into the script, into the prefab. Then the next thing is to, when the player is far away, whether it should spawn or we should delete the tie. And another thing is when the tie should be spawned, where the player position and when the tie should be spawned. This is what destroy the active tie at a certain position, and this is just what makes it random different tie, just like Subway Surf and some other games we always do, or we always use. So just take a look at the script for the lesson. I'm going to scroll it very, very slow so you could copy it. I'm going to make a video on how I wrote the script. I'm going to explain every single thing detailed, but due to I'm just trying to minimize this video to 10 minutes, so I can't do that right now. Just manage my explanation for the meantime. So let's drag the script into this game object. So let's first of all rename it as tie. Then let's drag the script into the game object. Ensure that the game object is at 000, so it could start spawning from the player spots from there upward. So after this, we have to create this prefab, the prefab of this stage. We have to create the prefab of this stage. You can pretty much name your size to be 100. You can put different stage, 100 stages, so as a player continue to play, you get to meet one amazing world. But as for now, due to the limited time we have, we're just going to create only this stage prefab. So this is the prefab. We've created the prefab. The next thing we're going to do is to drag the prefab into this tie spawn. So after dragging the prefab into this tie spawn, so let's hit the play button and see if it's working. Come on. So let's check if it's working, and as you can see from here, it's not spawning and there's an error on the code. So what we're going to do right now is, I think, pause this video and check. Let's check what's the error. So right now the player is not set, or is not tagged as the player, so we're going to tag it as the player, and after tagging it as the player, it should work. It should work from now. So look. So as you can see, it pretty much it's working. The player can't fall off the clip, it just continue playing. That's just the endless function there. As you can see, it's working. Okay. So now the next thing we're going to do, I'm not pretty much a fan of this watercolor, of this whole watercolor, this stuff. I just like to change my watercolor. Instead I download another skybox for my game. So for the meantime, I'm just going to change this color. You can change it in camera. You just have to go to your main camera, then go to background, change it to solid color. First of all, go to background, then select, is it blue? Should we make it blue? Let's make it, let me see how blue it look like. No, it's not fine. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. Okay, let's try white. Let's change it to white. Let's just have a clear sky for now. Let's have a clear. Okay, perfect, manageable, but not that perfect, but it's just okay. You can just use it for the meantime. Okay, it looks okay for the meantime. So now, what's the next one? So this pretty much concludes the video. Click the like button if you like the video. Subscribe if you don't want to miss my weekly video, and comment down there below, because I would like to know, if you are to make a game like this and you want to give it a name, what name will you give it? I'm curious to know. I'm curious to hear from you, so you can tell me down there in the comment below. I'm going to try to reply every one of you. Then maybe in the next tutorial we're going to pick the name we're going to give to the game. Thank you very much for watching. Is it for watching? For watching. Thank you very much, and please click the like and subscribe, and I love you all. Thank you.